They still win. And they win a lot of times. They don't train. They don't go to the range and shoot. They don't work out. They don't eat a good diet. They don't read books. They don't go to seminars. Why do they win? Does anybody know what a sociopath is?
Hannibal Lecter.
Are there any sociopaths here in this room?
Maybe.
Could be.
Maybe.
Probably not. I hope not. I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, but in my terms, basically a sociopath is a person who feels no empathy for another human being. You really don't exist to me. That's the sociopaths. Or you are just something I use to get wherever I want to be or want to do. Sociopath is a person who will kick the baby into the traffic as he's trying to get away from the police. Okay? It's a pretty relatable thing that you can see how bad these guys are. Okay? Well, we're not sociopaths. These guys are willing to do anything, anytime they're threatened. All right? That's not us. One of the reasons the bad guys win is because they're willing to do anything to get away with it, and we're not. And that's a tough thing because we're good guys. So what we have to do is we have to look at it and say, okay, for that moment in time, I got to be a sociopath for the right reasons, okay? Because I'm dealing with a real bad guy. And I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of real bad guys. I have no compunction about putting them 6 feet under, right there on the spot. Put me before the court, put me in jail, whatever you want. If that's what it takes at that moment, because I'm saving someone from the wrath of this individual, then so be it. And I am willing to accept the consequences of that action. One of the things I talked about. One of the other reasons that the guys win, bad guys, very simply, is when they go in and they rob a convenience store and they shoot the clerk, guess what? That's not the first time they've ever done that. When they jump somebody outside of a bar and beat the hell out of them with a pipe, that's not the first time they've ever done that. Most of us probably have never done that. But yet we're going to run into that situation, not robbing a convenience store, but that person who's done this time and time again. He's not worried about it. This is nothing new to him. He's been there, done that. We haven't. We have to take a step way beyond what we usually are doing, what we're capable of doing, what we've been taught not to do. We have to step through that threshold into that environment, the environment of extreme violence, okay? Very, very frightful place to be, no question about it. Except if you've done it and been there and done it and been there before and before. Combat experience. Now, these guys are a product of an environment, generally, that has produced them. Maybe there are physiological reasons, and maybe there are psychological reasons that somebody might have a propensity or a proclivity to take a certain path, good, bad, or indifferent. But generally, I think most babies when they're born, you know, are just good people to start with. They're like a blank tape, but it's a good blank tape. It's weighted on the good side. Because I think most people, honest to God, want to be good. I really do. I really do. But these guys come from environments where they were beat the hell out, they were neglected, all of those kind of things. And everybody knows about the Russian and Romanian children that are orphans that get absolutely no interaction with an adult, loving, kind, caring environment. Most of them grow up to be sociopaths. There's no question about it. So there is definitely a reason that some of these things take place. The bad guys come out of that environment. Hopefully. I mean, I've had my rear end whipped pretty damn hard by my mom and dad as I was growing up. But they love me. And I know that a lot of people in here probably had certain similar things to that. But generally, we grew up in a place that was producing good people. The family wanted you to be a good person. They provided for you. Education. They were concerned about you. They cared for you. So again, we're a product of that environment. We're not a product of that other environment. So again, this is why bad guys win. This is their world. I mean, I'm not painting a picture of doom and gloom here, but I'm saying in the world of extreme violence and sociopathic behavior, that's their comfort zone. They feel at ease. They'll kill somebody and step up to the bar and have a drink. Police officer shoots somebody and he's got to go to counseling for 6 months. And sometimes he hangs up the belt and says, this is not for me. Because that's not our comfort zone. We're not used to that kind of crap. Okay? Mike Tyson, bad guy, great boxer, one time was running in Massachusetts when he was still with Cus D'Amato, who was actually a good mentor for him. He kind of went off on a tangent once Cus died. But Mike Tyson was running one time, and he was tracked down by a Sports Illustrated writer. It was 3:15, at 3 o'clock in the morning, it was 15 degrees out. And the writer asked him, he said, Mike, what are you doing? It's 3 o'clock in the morning, it's 15 degrees. Why in the hell are you out here running, doing road work? And Mike, again, real down-to-earth guy, he said, because my opponent isn't. He was doing the extra yards. That's why he was knocking the first 8 guys that he ever fought out in the first round. Plus, he said something that was also very important to what I'm going to talk about in a few minutes. Is he said, one guy asked him, he said, Mike, how can you knock guys out with body shots? And I've seen it. I mean, I've got all the old films and everything, and I used to watch. I was big on boxing, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Mike would knock guys out with a punch, not even to the liver or anywhere else, but just a good body shot. And really what he said was, you have to throw your punches with bad intent. Damn, I have lived by that. You have to throw your punches with bad intent. You're up against somebody who's trying to do you harm. You got to throw every single thing that you have in your body. You have to perform at a level higher than that guy, so that the factor about skills doesn't become a factor at all. I have to be so good that I'm not worried about that I'm better than you. I know I'm better than you. So now it's just a matter of, how do I deal with this situation? I don't have any hesitation about what my skill level is or my ability to control a situation. Because if you have self-doubt, one of the big things with the samurai, and I'm going to start spinning off here if I don't watch myself, one of the big things about the samurai that was so important to what we're talking about today, or what I'm talking about, is they had the concept of no mind, okay? Because if any thought crept into your mind, if any self-doubt crept into your mind, you would be the one who got killed by the sword. Because when you're dealing with something like a sword or a knife or a gun, there can be no hesitation. And quite honestly, a lot of police officers get shot because they get the draw on the guy, even though he's got the gun and is shooting at him, and they get surprised and they bring the gun up, and there's a moment when they hesitate to shoot, even when someone is trying to kill them. And that's that moment when the bad guy gets his opening, okay? You don't want to have that, all right? With that sword, that moment of hesitation gave that opponent that instantaneous split-second time when you were cut and not him. And they called it the concept of no mind. And what that really meant was, I'm so, excuse me, I promised my wife I wouldn't swear. I am so effing good, and I know I am so good, that that is not a factor in who wins this fight, all right? Now, we looked at that fight that I just showed you on the video. That to me has everything in it that I talk about. It has every single thing in it that I'm all about. And one of the things is, because we're good guys and not bad guys, we have to have a switch. On, off, on, off. Because I'll tell you what, when you are confronted with extreme physical violence, robbery, carjacking, rape, mugging, whatever the case may be,